wind howled like a banshee outside, clawing at the old farmhouse with icy fingers. Snowflakes, fat and angry, slammed against the windows, momentarily blinding the world outside. It was a classic Vermont blizzard, the kind that turns normally quiet country roads into treacherous white voids. I hunkered deeper into my armchair, the crackling fire casting warm, dancing shadows on the exposed beams of the living room. "Looks like we're snowed in, Sarah," I said to my wife, who was huddled on the rug with a thick book. "Looks that way, John," she replied, a hint of amusement in her voice. "Cozy night in by the fire, then?" Normally, I'd be happy with that, but a strange unease gnawed at me. It wasn't just the storm's fury. Earlier that day, while clearing the driveway, I'd noticed odd tracks in the snow. They weren't deer or coyote, something bigger and with a disturbingly humanoid gait. I dismissed it then, thinking it was just the wind playing tricks on my eyes. Now, with the storm raging outside and the isolation setting in, the memory prickled my skin. The power flickered, the lights dimming momentarily before returning. Sarah sighed, closing her book. "Maybe a board game? We haven't played Scrabble in ages." "Sounds good," I agreed, forcing a smile. As we set up the game, the wind seemed to pick up its pace. The house creaked and groaned under the pressure, the floorboards groaning in protest. A sudden loud thump from the attic made us both jump. "What was that?" Sarah whispered, her eyes wide. "Probably just a loose beam," I mumbled, trying to sound calm despite the knot of dread forming in my stomach. Another thump, followed by a dragging sound, sent shivers down my spine. The attic stairs were in the back room, a small, seldom-used space. I grabbed a poker from the fireplace, the metal warm against my clammy palm. "Stay here," I told Sarah, my voice tight. The back room was dark and cold. The only light came from the faint glow of the fire filtering in from the living room. I crept up the rickety stairs, each creak echoing like a gunshot in the stillness. The attic was a dusty maze of forgotten furniture and boxes. I poked the poker into every shadowy corner, my heart hammering against my ribs. But there was nothing. No animal, no intruder, just more creaks and groans as the wind howled around the house. Relieved, almost embarrassed, I descended the stairs. Sarah was standing by the window, her face pale. "Anything?" she asked. "Nothing," I lied, shoving the poker back by the fireplace. We resumed the game, but neither of us could concentrate. The strange thumps continued, coming at irregular intervals, always from the attic. Finally, unable to ignore it any longer, we decided to investigate together. Armed with a flashlight and a growing sense of dread, we climbed the creaky attic stairs. The air was thick with dust motes dancing in the beam of the flashlight. We inched forward, the floorboards groaning beneath our weight. The thumping seemed to be coming from behind a large, dusty wardrobe. Sarah pushed it aside, revealing a dark space behind. My stomach lurched. There, nestled amongst cobwebs and forgotten trinkets, was a wooden crate. It was an ornately carved chest, unlike anything I'd ever seen. Its surface was etched with strange symbols that sent a shiver down my spine. Curiosity, tinged with a healthy dose of fear, compelled me to open it. The rusty hinges groaned in protest as I lifted the lid. Inside, nestled in a bed of faded velvet, lay a porcelain doll. It was beautiful, with delicate features and long, flowing black hair. But its eyes, they were dark and lifeless, two black pits that seemed to stare directly into my soul. From my throat, the floorboard beneath my feet gave way, sending me crashing through the attic ceiling. I landed on the living room floor in a heap of dust and plaster, the doll tumbling on top of me. Sarah rushed to my side, her face etched with concern. The attic opening gaped above me, a stark reminder of my fall. "John, are you okay?" Sarah asked, helping me to my feet. The doll lay on the floor, its lifeless eyes staring blankly at the ceiling. As I reached to pick it up, a bone-chilling whisper snaked through the room, barely audible over the howling wind. finally awake. We both spun around, searching the room, but it was empty. The wind seemed to pick up its pace, howling with a chilling glee. The whispers came again, this time circling the room, growing louder and more accusatory. "You shouldn't have opened it," it hissed, the voice like dry leaves rustling in a crypt. Sarah and I huddled together, our backs pressed against the cold stone fireplace. Terror choked my voice. I gripped the poker tighter, the metal digging into my palm. Suddenly, a gust of wind, seemingly coming from nowhere, extinguished the fire. The room plunged into darkness, punctuated only by flashes of lightning illuminating the ghostly silhouettes of furniture. The whispers intensified, forming fractured sentences in a language I didn't understand, yet felt inexplicably ancient and evil. Then, a bone-chilling laugh echoed through the room, high-pitched and maddening. It sent shivers down my spine and caused the hairs on the back of my neck to stand on end. It stopped as abruptly as it began, leaving behind a thick, oppressive silence. "Run!" Sarah rasped, her voice barely a whisper. But before we could react, a blood-curdling scream ripped through the silence. I turned towards Sarah, my heart plummeting. She was gone. Panic surged through me, drowning out the wind's howl and the whispers that had returned. I stumbled blindly through the darkness, calling out to Sarah, only to be met with a deafening silence. The floorboards creaked under my feet, each groan echoing in the empty room. My hand brushed against the cold porcelain of the fallen doll. I threw it away with a cry of revulsion. Suddenly, a cold hand clamped over my mouth, stifling my scream. Terror locked my muscles. I fought back, blindly swinging the poker in the darkness. I felt something heavy connect with the unseen hand, a grunt of pain following, but the grip didn't loosen. "Looking for your wife?" A voice rasped in my ear, sending shivers down my spine. "She's with us now." Tears of fear streamed down my face. I kicked back with all my strength, connecting with something solid. The grip loosened, and I scrambled away, tripping over furniture in my haste. Light. A faint glow emanated from the direction of the kitchen. I stumbled towards it, praying for escape. The whispers followed me, laced with a dark amusement. Reaching the kitchen doorway, I gasped. Sarah. She was propped up in a kitchen chair, her eyes vacant, a twisted smile frozen on her face. In her lifeless hand, she clutched the porcelain doll. A figure emerged from the shadows, tall and gaunt, with skin the color of ash and eyes like burning embers. It stared at me with a predatory hunger. The wind outside howled with a macabre symphony, and I knew I was trapped. The figure lunged, its cold hand reaching for me. Despair washed over me, freezing my limbs. But as the hand neared, the wooden crate from the attic, forgotten amidst the chaos, caught my eye. With a desperate surge of adrenaline, I grabbed it and threw it at the figure. The crate slammed into its chest, knocking it back. It stumbled, hissing in rage. In that precious moment, I knew what I had to do. There was a gas leak warning on the wall next to the stove. Grasping at a slim hope, I smashed the fire poker against the stove knob, sparks flying. A hiss filled the air, followed by the sharp tang of gas. The figure lunged again, but it was too late. With a deafening roar, the kitchen exploded, engulfed in flames. The last thing I saw as the fire consumed us all was the grotesque smile on Sarah's porcelain face and the figure silhouetted against the inferno, its eyes filled with a chilling, otherworldly fury. The storm raged on, the wind howling a mournful dirge for the souls lost in its icy grip. But beneath the snowdrifts, buried under the wreckage of the farmhouse, the secrets of the attic remained. A chilling reminder of the price of disturbing what should remain undisturbed.